Hello friends, this is Hedda. Today I'm doing something really fun that I've been looking forward to for a long time, and that is comparing a ton of different brush pens. Brush pens are often considered a must when bullet journaling. I personally don't think they are, but I do enjoy using them. So here I have 21 different brush pens that we're going to take a closer look at today. Around half of these were gifted to me by the Norwegian online store tudos.no, so thank you so much to Tudos for sending me some of these. The rest I have collected over the years have been bullet journaling, and you'll see later that some of them are more used than others. And this video is not sponsored, by the way. Alright, so when comparing these, I will look at the size, the flexibility of the brush, the color selection of each brush pen, and of course the price and any ghosting or bleeding problems. I'll first swatch each pen separately, and then I'll make a comparison spread in my bullet journal. Oh, and when talking about price, I can really only mention the prices I bought them for in various countries, so the currency conversion might not be 100% accurate, but I'll do my best to convert between euros and Norwegian kroner. The paper I'll use to swatch each brush pen on first is on a 100 GSM paper pad from Lyra, so it's a little thicker than your regular printer paper, but not anything fancy. First out is the Platinum Sohitsu Twin brush pen. This brush pen from the Japanese brand Platinum is double-ended, with one side having black ink and the other side having gray. This retails for 49 kroner on tudos.no, which is roughly 5 euros. This pen is really pretty to look at because it has tiny specks of gold on the black barrel. It has a small brush size, and combined with high flexibility, this makes it very easy to use. Although flexible, it's not flimsy, which is really great. This pen does not come in any other colors or sizes, which I'm a bit sad about because I really like this brush pen. Next up is the Pentel XGFL Color Art Brush Pen from Pentel. This one is definitely on the more expensive side, as it retails for 89 kroner on tudos.no, which is roughly 9 euros. This brush pen has a big nylon brush, and what I found really fun about this one is that the ink isn't actually in the brush when you open it, so you have to twist and actually prepare the ink cartridge to be able to use it. The brush is very flexible and a little flimsy because it's an actual nylon brush. I definitely wouldn't recommend this to a beginner, but I think that it would work really well for someone more advanced. This pen comes in a few different colors, but only in this size. Now let me just say that this brush pen is a joy to use. I played around with it a lot. The ink flows so rich and the brush is really high quality. So I think the price is justified. Moving on to the other expensive brush pen in this comparison, the Copic Hude. Yes, Copic doesn't only make alcohol-based illustration markers. This is a really high quality brush pen, and there are a few reasons for that. The tip is a soft nylon brush, and the ink is black Copic multiliner ink, which is pigment based. It's very flexible, and like the Pentel XGFL, it's quite flimsy as well because of the nylon brush. This is not a pen I would recommend for making headers in your bullet journal or writing with, but rather I would use it for drawing or for elaborate calligraphy. I'm sure both this and the Pentel XGFL was developed with Japanese calligraphy in mind, which sadly I'm not very good at, even though I tried my hand at it when I lived in Japan. This brush pen only comes in black and in this one size. Next up is the Sakura Koi coloring brush pen, and the pen I have here is the color 44 Cool Gray. This one sells for 29 kroner on tudos.no, which is around 3 euros. This brush pen has a slim and short barrel, and the brush seems very large and has decent flexibility despite most of the brush being too stiff to actually bend at all. This brush pen comes in many different colors, but not any other sizes. It's an okay brush pen. If you saw my July setup video, you'll know that I wasn't very impressed with the Sakura Koi brush pens because of the streakiness, but writing and coloring with brush pens is two very different things. However, these brush pens are literally called coloring brush pens, and they are not very good for coloring in my opinion. Next up is the Carandash. I can't do this. I'm gonna say Carandash. The Carandash Fibralo brush pen, and the color that I have here is the 504 Paynes Gray 30%. This sells for 25 kroner on tudos.no, which is just over €2. It has a medium-sized brush tip with high flexibility. It comes in several other colors, and I'd be very interested in trying more colors of this brush pen. It doesn't come in any other sizes, but that's okay because this brush tip can be whatever size you want it to be pretty much. Moving on to another Sakura brush pen, this is the Sakura Pigma brush pen. This is the brush pen that is included in some of the packs of Sakura Pigma Micron fineliners, which so many people in the bullet journal community swear to, for reasons unbeknownst to me, as their barrels leak terribly in my experience. This pen has a small brush with very high flexibility. It comes in several colors and costs 39 kroner on tudos.no. That's around €4. This might be my least favorite brush pen ever because it's very flimsy and because the barrel leaks. In a while, this cap will most likely be full of ink. The next brush pen is yet another Sakura Pigma brush pen called Sakura Pigma FB. The FB means fine brush, as this one comes in 3 sizes, fine, medium and big. This pen costs 39 kroner on tudos.no, and it has a tiny brush with high flexibility. Because the brush is so small and short, you have a lot of control over it, and it's very easy to use. It doesn't come in any other colors. Next up is the same brush pen in the size MB, which is the medium. This has a medium-sized brush with medium flexibility. This brush pen is also very easy to control because the brush tip is so short. It costs 39 kroner as well, which is €4. It doesn't come in any other colors, but like I just mentioned, it does come in 3 different sizes. I don't have the large one to compare with right now, but it's significantly larger than the medium. Next up are some of the most popular brush pens in the bullet journal community, and that is the Tombow Fudenosuke brush pens. First up is the soft tip pen. It costs 59 kroner on tudos.no, which is around €6, so it's quite expensive. I've seen it for 49 other places, so I guess the price varies a bit. It has a small brush tip with medium flexibility, and because the tip is so small, it won't create wide lines no matter how flexible it is. And these brush pens come in various colors and also in one more size, which is the next pen we are talking about, the Tombow Fudenosuke hard tip. Like many others, this has been a go-to brush pen for me because it's very easy to write a bit smaller with this pen than with other brush pens, since it has a small nib with medium flexibility. This one is even less flexible than the soft tip. It comes in various colors as well. At least I think both the soft and the hard comes in various colors, but I might be wrong. And another variation of this pen is the Tombow Fudenosuke twin tip. The twin tip has one black side and one gray side. The brush nibs are like the Tombow Fudenosuke soft tip with a small brush size and medium flexibility. If you're only getting one pen but want 2 colors, this is a good choice, as it costs the same as the other Tombow Fudenosuke brush pens. I should mention that I've had the soft and the hard tip pens for a while, so they don't seem as juicy as the twin tip, which I just got. Next up is a brush pen that is very underrepresented in the bullet journal community, I think. You may have used Unipin fine liners, or at least heard of them. They're awesome. But did you know that Unipin also has a pen with a brush nib? This pen has a small brush with quite high flexibility. It reminds me a lot of the Tombow Fudenosuke hard tip brush pen. It doesn't come in any other colors or sizes, and I can't remember how much I bought this for, but I'm guessing it costs the same as the fine liners from Unipin. The Unipin fine line brush pen is really nice actually, and I'll definitely be using this a lot. Next up are some brush pens that my dear friend gave to me in Austria, and I haven't seen all of these for sale in Norway yet. These are the Pentel Fude Touch sign pens. I mostly see the middle size, or the original size I guess, in stores here, but it actually comes in 3 different sizes. The original Fude Touch sign pen has a small brush size with high flexibility, but it is slightly larger than the extra fine tip. I'd say this one is very similar to the Tombow Fudenosuke soft tip. This size comes in many colors, and I think it's rising in popularity from what I can see. The smallest size, called extra fine, has a tiny brush with high flexibility. I've used this one a lot, so it's not as black as it used to be. This one is great for smaller writing because it's so small. Then there is the largest one, which is called medium. This pen has a medium-sized brush with high flexibility, and it's very comfortable to write with, although not my favorite brush pen. The next brush pen we are going to look at is a brush pen from Panduro, which is a Norwegian-Swedish craft store chain. It has a large brush with medium flexibility, and there is a distinct smell to these brush pens. They are twin-tipped, meaning they have a fine liner in one end and a brush on the other. But the crazy thing about this brush pen is that it's the exact same as the Lyra brush pens. Like, exactly the same. That makes me even more bummed out that I paid around €5 for the Panduro brush pen when the Lyra ones are about half that price. Next up is the Pitt Artist Pen from Faber-Castell. This brush pen has a peculiar nib, in my opinion. It seems to sit much further out from the barrel than other brush pens, making it very long and slim. The nib itself is quite small and has medium flexibility, so despite being so long, it's not actually flimsy, and it seems to be a felt tip from what I can tell. These brush pens come in lots of different colors and contains India ink. And now we have the big famous Tombow dual brush pen. These are immensely popular, and if there's one brush pen out of these 20 that you've heard of before, it's probably this one. These come in over 100 colors and have a large brush nib with medium flexibility. I rarely use these for writing because they're just too big for my taste, but I use them a lot for highlighting and coloring in my bullet journal. They also have a fine tip on the opposite side of the brush nib. These go for 49 kroner on tudos.no, which is around €5. I know the prices of these vary a lot from country to country. Next up is the Zebra Mild Liner brush. When these came out, they were all the rage because Zebra Mild Liners have been so popular in the bullet journal and studying community for a long time. This brush pen is dual tipped like the Tombow dual brush pen and the Panduro twin tip, so it has one fine tip and one brush tip. The brush is large with medium flexibility and uses the exact same ink as the Zebra Mild Liner highlighters. Then we have the Deleter Neo Pico Line 3 pigment ink brush pen. This brush pen has a small brush nib with high flexibility. If you don't know Deleter, it's because these pens are only for sale in Japan as far as I know. There they are a common brand among illustrators and manga authors, and I picked this one up together with some fine liners and alcohol-based markers from the leader. This brush pen is not very good for writing in my opinion, but very good for drawing if you're into those brush lines. Lastly, we have the Marvi Uchida for drawing brush pen. This brush pen has a medium-sized brush nib with high flexibility. It's quite long and can be a little bit flimsy. It doesn't really feel like anything special, but I do like that the barrel is white. It makes it stand out a little in the middle of all of these black and gray barrels. I bought this for 29 kroner, which is around 3 euros, so it's on the cheaper side, I would say. Alright, so that's all the pens I'm comparing today. Let's take a look at what they look like next to each other, as they all have different features. I found it really hard to sort them in any significant way because the way they behave doesn't only depend on the size of the nib, but also on the flexibility, the material of the brush, and so on. So I ended up not sorting them at all and just going through them one by one on this page. The journal I'm currently using is an in-print journal, which has 160 GSM paper. Because of this, keep in mind that the pens might behave a little differently in your journal than in mine. It's difficult to say which ones of these are good and which are bad, because in the end it all depends on your preferences and how you use them. But generally speaking, I would probably recommend every person who wants to start brush lettering to get a non-flimsy brush pen to begin with, as the very flimsy ones are difficult to control. Perhaps I would go for the Platinum Sohitsu or the Pentel Fude Touch or Tombow Fudenosuke brush pens for beginners, mostly because they're small and easy to control. For coloring, I would recommend Tombow Dual brush pens and the Carandash Fibralo brush pens, although the last one doesn't come in as many colors as the Tombow Dual brush pens. I hope you were able to learn a little bit about these 20 different brush pens in this video, and maybe you discovered some that you haven't seen before. If you'd like to see me make more videos like this, please give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment with what you'd like to see me compare next. A really good way to help me make videos like this is to support my Patreon. On my Patreon, I upload various rewards every month, like printable journaling kits, sticker sheets, and phone wallpapers. I also make more detailed personal blog posts about how I use my journal, so if that's something that you're interested in, please check that out. I hope you're all having a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!